Hey, deckies, stews, chefs, captains, and that one person who's always fixing the AC. Just kidding, I love you guys, I love the engineers. I'm Erica and I've got thoughts. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to read an article I wrote for Onboard in 24. I'm just trying that out instead of 2024, 24, like we used to do in the old century. Right, and it's how Gen Z or Gen Z, depending on where you're from, is reshaping the super yacht industry. I wrote this because I have seen over the years so much bashing. One generation just bashes the next, and it used to be bashing the millennials, and now we're bashing the Gen Zs. So yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit of research and a deep dive into this one. I hope you enjoy. As always, please comment below. Tell me what you're thinking. See what you think about it. Be nice, be polite, be respectful. And if you like the way I write, then buy my book. It's easy, isn't it? No brainer. Let's get into it. So let's talk about how Gen Z is reshaping the super yacht industry. As the first wave of Gen Z, born between 97 and 2012, has entered the workforce, we've seen them bring along their unique values, expectations, and skills, which, like it or not, are starting to reshape the super yacht industry. Unlike previous generations, Gen Z's perspectives on work-life balance, transparency, sustainability, and inclusivity are transforming recruitment strategies and yacht operations significantly. That was a lot of long words for someone who hasn't had enough coffee this morning. Right, firstly, if you're still reeling at the fact that people born in 2006 are not fetuses and are in fact 18 years of age, it's okay, you're okay. Lots of us are with you on that one. So let's establish who's who. The senior roles in yachting are currently occupied by millennials, 28 to 43-ish. Then you'll see Gen X, 43 to 60, and possibly even a few boomers, 60 plus, clinging on before they're pensioned off for complaining too much about the kids today. We jest. Maybe we don't. Let's just see how this goes. Okay, let's get back on track here. One thing we're experiencing more of each year is moaning. Good grief, we like to moan, don't we? Captains and HODs, recruiters, managers, well, they have their gripes, and that's because the dynamic of the workforce has changed so dramatically with the arrival of Gen Z. So what's going on? Why are the new wave of crew so different? And what can we learn from them? How can we attract new crew? And this is the trickier part, keep them in the industry. Now, the super yacht industry is not attracting as many newbies as pre-pandemic times, and more leave after just one season, if they even make it that far. It would seem, based on this, that perhaps the yacht industry isn't ready for Gen Z, and as a result, Gen Z isn't ready for the yacht industry. So now we see ourselves at an impasse. The industry needs young blood and new crew to pick up the chamois. If you can't get out of a chair without making noises your nan would be proud of, you don't want to be detailing with a cotton bud. Face it, you'd never get up unassisted off those poor old knees of yours. So let's look at a values-driven workforce. One of the most defining characteristics of Gen Z is their commitment to values-driven work. Now, what does that even mean? It means Gen Zs choose jobs and work environments that align with their personal values. So that could be sustainability, inclusivity, mental well-being. They want a work culture which emphasizes purpose, ethics, and meaningful contributions over purely financial or status-driven motivations. So in the super yacht industry, which traditionally places a high value on luxury, exclusivity, and tradition, the rise of Gen Z presents an opportunity to appeal to younger crew through a focus on sustainability and eco-conscious practices, which we're all meant to be doing anyway, aren't we? Which does lead us neatly onto sustainability on the high seas. Now, Gen Z's awareness of climate change and environmental responsibility has prompted a preference for employers who prioritise sustainable practices. Yachts adopting eco-friendly initiatives such as reducing plastic waste, implementing green technology, or reducing carbon footprints are seeing increased interest from younger applicants. So these sustainable practices also contribute to a yacht's overall brand value and can be a significant recruitment advantage when appealing to a generation passionate about the environment. So when you're looking to hire, think about your green policies on board. You probably have loads of them already in place, so big them up. Let's talk about transparency and fairness in the workplace. These are non-negotiable values for Gen Z. They prefer workplaces where policies, compensation, and expectations are clear and openly discussed. The traditional hierarchical and sometimes opaque nature of the yachting industry can be a proper sticking point, but it's also an area where small changes can make a significant impact. Yes, this does mean HODs will potentially have to change their approaches. And no, they won't get anything other than zero compliance if they shout at their team. When they're asked why they must do something, because I said so, just ain't gonna fly anymore. Just saying. Open communication. This means encouraging the sharing of info and ideas within the team, not making anyone feel silly, even if their idea is, well, potentially a bit daft. Be open to new ways of doing things. Give them a go, see if it works. Also, open comms means less sulking. If someone says something that upsets another crew member, hopefully they'll feel comfortable enough to address it rather than just stewing on it. Some older crew, and I'm looking more at the men here, might declare this to be a bit soft. However, is it not better just to have a chat about your feelings early on than ignore it all until it blows up in your face and you've got 3 crew members in tears demanding to leave mid-charter? Yeah, I thought so. How about work-life balance and mental health support? Gen Z is less willing to compromise on work-life balance, even in demanding industries like yachting. While previous generations might accept a lack of downtime as a given, Gen Z looks for employers who respect time off and prioritise mental health. And this is a huge issue to overcome due to the nature of the industry. You remember that MLC thing about hours of rest? Yeah, that. It's actually in place for a jolly good reason. And I know sometimes it's pretty much impossible to adhere to those hours, but if you do want to retain your crew, you do need to do your best. And if that means having an awkward conversation with the boss, I'm afraid that's got to happen. You know, put your big boy or girl pants on. Just because that's how you've always done it and how you started off in the industry, it doesn't make it okay. You know, they used to shove kids up chimneys and down mines. You see where we're going with this? Change, especially for safety's sake, is a good thing. Well-rested crew perform better. When it comes to safety on board, owners sometimes need that pointed out when it's their family on board who the crew are responsible for. Embracing rotational roles and structured time off. Now, rotation is slowly coming into yachting, but we're still struggling to engage owners and in a lot of cases, captains, into recognising the vast benefits. Look at commercial shipping and you'll see structured time off, shifts and rotations as standard practice. But yachting is still the wild, wild west and we need to educate the top brass. Just because you didn't get rotation until you were a captain or a purser, etc., doesn't mean everyone else has to suffer. You know, think about my previous comments about shoving kids up chimneys. We're not suggesting brand new stews and deckies get 2 on 2 off rotation, but how about 5 on 1 off to start with, and some decent time off in the season here and there when trips allow? Some yachts seem hell-bent on pushing the crew to burnout, and that just results in a high turnover and more work for those who are left and who have to train the new ones. I mean, who wants to keep doing that? It's not a sustainable working model. Let's think about technology as an asset and expectation. Now, Gen Z has grown up with technology at their fingertips since they were born, making them digitally fluent and capable of managing complex text-related tasks. This comfort with technology can be a huge asset for yachts, as roles that require tech skills, from managing social media to troubleshooting the onboard digital systems, can be performed efficiently by a younger crew. It also does mean that due to growing up glued to screens, a lot of the new generation aren't so hot on face-to-face social interaction, which causes some issues at the crew mess lunch table, but there are ways of dealing with this. For example, meal times might be designated phone-free for a set period of time, and then everyone can do what they like. How about the demand for authentic mentorship? Now, if we want to keep them, we have to train them. Gen Z values mentorship and growth, preferring work environments where leaders are approachable and invested in their development. It's also a fantastic opportunity to mould your junior crew into exactly the crew members you want and need in your programme. It's a win-win. Sometimes seniors forget they were new to the industry once and didn't pop out of the womb knowing silver service or how to handle a jet drive tender, and aren't really keen on training, as demonstrated in the constant flow of job ads stating, must have at least a season's experience. You might be pleasantly surprised by hiring a greenie who absorbs your way of working, rather than trying to get someone with experience to adapt to your methods. Just a thought. Invest your time and expertise and you'll reap the rewards. You will. This approach is also a big selling point when you're attracting new crew. Training opportunities and budgets for professional development are highly sought after. An owner who invests in their crew is a good person to work for, usually. Now, we also have to consider inclusivity and diversity as priorities. Now, Gen Z values diversity and inclusivity in the workplace, expecting employers to actively cultivate a welcoming environment for all backgrounds. This trend has put pressure on the traditionally exclusive world of yachting to adapt, making inclusive practices not just preferable, but essential in attracting younger crew. Promoting policies and practices that support fair treatment, regardless of nationality or background, strengthens crew dynamics and makes the work environment more appealing to younger generations. And frankly, that should be in place because it's 2024, not 1984. So not 20 years ago. Oh God, no, 1984 was 40 years ago. There you have it, easy peasy. As Gen Z continues to enter the workforce, the super yacht industry must evolve to attract and retain this new generation of crew, or who's going to run the yachts in 10 or 20 years' time? I'm glad we've got all that sorted now, just in time for Generation Y. Yes, they're coming, so brace yourselves. It's also worth noting that if all the above advice is heeded and put into practice, it might just make the workplace better for everyone, even the grumpy old badgers. Those kids today, eh? With their demands for a nice working environment. The cheek of it. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm going to crack straight into the side panel that I wrote. With no further ado, let's get into that. So you've realised that you need to attract some young, fresh meat into your team. You've accepted that complaining about how it was back in your day just isn't going to magically create a new wave of boundary-free baby boomers. Well, here's a handy guide for you to refer to when you're looking to hire and retain your Gen Zs. Wi-Fi or we riot. Unlimited Wi-Fi or we're out. TikToks won't watch themselves. And yes, we might need it to post one tastefully filtered ocean pic per hour. Eco-friendly everything. Reduce, reuse, recycle, repeat. Gen Z will side-eye your single-use plastic. So if you're eco-friendly, they're already halfway to saying yes. Bonus points for a compost bin. Rotation, please. Work hard, play harder, but not too hard. Structured time off means that they'll come back actually wanting to work. So it's a win-win, right? And they've got a point. I bet you'd all like some of that rotation, hey? A cool captain. Think mentor/life coach who is also super approachable and maybe tells a great sea story. If you say back in my day, they'll listen, but keep it short and it better be funny. Bonus points if it involves a shark. Transparency. No secrets. Gen Z appreciates honesty and directness. Tell them what's up, what the real vibe is on board, and what exactly they're signing up for. Ghosting, strictly for exes, not fellow crew members. Diversity, FTW. Diverse teams make better teams. It's not just a saying, it's a lifestyle. All welcome, no room for salty vibes unless you're talking about the ocean. And by the way, we also like abbreviating things. FTW, for the win. Mental health matters. Mental health days, mindfulness practices, and check-ins that go beyond, did you scrub that deck? Really make a big difference. Gen Z likes knowing their mental well-being is as valued as their knot-tying skills. Instant gratification, sort of. Patience is a virtue, sure, but regular feedback and a nod of appreciation go a long way. A little good job here and there, it's like gold dust. Sprinkle it everywhere. Tech support included. If you're confused about how to update your apps or why you need a second screen, Gen Z can help. Just don't be surprised or cringe too hard when they suggest streaming a playlist with good vibes only. So there you go. That was my article on Gen Z. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, as always, comments below. Don't bash other generations. I'm sure the generation before you bashed you. But yeah, it doesn't make it all right, does it? Anyway, that's enough from me. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.